the seismic shock when the giant falls. If you are standing, sit down immediately. If you are already seated, grip the armrests of your chair. Because what has just unfolded at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open was not an ordinary tennis match. This was a sporting earthquake that has sent shockwaves from Manila to Moscow, from the courts of the UAE to the Russian stands. We are talking about a result that completely defies logic. A result that every expert analyst failed to predict. A result that has shaken the entire 2026 WTA ranking system to its very roots. Alexandra Eala, the 19-year-old from the Philippines, a wildcard entry, has just defeated Elena Rybakina, the world number 3, a Grand Slam champion. The woman nicknamed the Ice Queen, with a 120 miles per hour serve that can destroy anything in its path. This was not just an upset victory. This was a revolution broadcast live across the globe. And do you know what is truly terrifying? Rybakina did not play poorly. She brought the aces. She brought the thunderous forehands. But Eala, the girl everyone thought would be blown off the court, absorbed all of that power and countered with staggering precision. The Russian tennis community is currently in a state of total collapse. The forums are exploding. The commentators have lost their voices because the giant they trusted absolutely has just been cut down. If you want to understand why this shock is so powerful, why the entire tennis world is talking about this match, then stay with Pro Tennis 360. We will dissect every aspect, from the psychology and tactics to the explosive moments that have reshaped the future of women's tennis. This is Alexandra Eala versus Elena Rybakina. This is the Abu Dhabi Open. And this is the story that has left the entire sporting world stunned. The girl from Manila. The journey from wild card to giant killer. Before we dive deep into the battle, you must understand exactly who Alexandra Eala is. Because if you only looked at the rankings, you would think she did not have a chance. Eala was born in 2005 in the Philippines, a nation not famous for professional tennis. But from a young age, she displayed extraordinary talent. Her family invested everything to send her to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, one of the most elite tennis academies in the world. And that investment has paid off. Eala won the Junior Grand Slam doubles titles at the Australian Open and the French Open. She proved her potential. But stepping from the Junior Tour to the Pro Tour, that is a massive wall that hundreds of young talents have crashed against and failed. What are the strengths of Eala? She is left-handed, a natural geometric advantage. Her serve can pull a right-handed opponent off the court uncomfortably. But unlike Rybakina, Eala does not rely on raw power. She relies on elite movement anticipation and a forehand with massive spin that can break the rhythm of flat hitters. But listen, on paper, this was still a terrifyingly asymmetrical match. Rybakina is taller, has a longer reach, and possesses more experience. Every expert predicted Eala will be blown away. She does not have enough power to keep Rybakina behind the baseline. But they were wrong, completely wrong. And that is why this shock is so powerful. Eala did not try to play Rybakina's game. She played her own. She slowed the pace down. She changed the height and spin constantly. She forced Rybakina to bend low, to run forward, and to dig balls out from uncomfortable positions at ankle height. And that completely destroyed the plan of the giant. This was not a lucky David throwing a stone at Goliath. This was a David with a detailed strategy, who studied every weakness of Goliath and executed it perfectly. The Ice Queen, a weapon of mass destruction. Now we must talk about Elena Rybakina. Because to understand why this defeat is such a seismic shock, you must understand how dominant Rybakina is. Born in Moscow, but competing for Kazakhstan, Rybakina is one of the most feared players on the tour. She is the 2022 Wimbledon champion, world number 3. And her serve? That is not just a shot. That is a weapon of mass destruction. Rybakina's serve regularly reaches 120 miles per hour, on par with many male players. But it is not just the speed. It is the precision. She paints the lines like a sniper, leaving opponents standing still, unable to return the ball. Rybakina's strategy is terrifyingly simple. Deliver a monstrous serve. Wait for a weak return. Destroy the point with an immediate forehand winner. It is brutal efficiency. It is clinical. And to be honest, standing across the net from her is extremely intimidating. Before the match with Eala, the Russian and Kazakh media almost completely ignored the Filipino girl. Not out of malice, but because of cold statistical calculation. The headlines did not ask if Rybakina would win. They were already speculating about who Rybakina would meet in the semifinals or the finals. The match against Eala was viewed as an administrative procedure, a warm-up before the truly important matches. And it was that very overconfidence that created a bubble of arrogance ready to burst. But no one sent that script to Alexandra Eala. And that is where the story becomes explosive. Rybakina stepped onto the court with an icy gaze. She had the height, the reach, and the experience. She had the serve that could destroy milestones. She had the forehand that could tear up the baseline. But Eala had something Rybakina did not expect: a lion's heart and a perfect strategy. And for the next 2 hours and 30 minutes, we witnessed one of the matches that defies all logic in the history of modern tennis. PRE match expectations, a predicted slaughter. Let me be clear from the start. In 0-1, and I emphasize, not one expert predicted Eala would win. The bookmakers set the odds: Rybakina at 1.15, Eala at 6.50. That means if you bet $100 on Rybakina, you would only win an additional $15. But if you bet on Eala, you would receive $550 back. That is a massive gap. Why was the discrepancy so large? First, the ranking. Rybakina is world number 3. Eala has not even entered the top 50. That is an abyss in terms of ranking points, tour experience, and career earnings. Second, the court surface. Abu Dhabi is a fast hard court. This is a surface designed perfectly for the aggressive power game of Rybakina. In theory, this is not a place where a baseline defender, a clever tactician, can destroy a top-tier power hitter. But Eala seemed to challenge the very physics of the court. Third, the head-to-head history. This was the first time they had met. But Rybakina has an incredible record in the opening rounds. She rarely loses to players outside the top 20. For her to lose to a wild card entry, that was simply unthinkable. Before the match, what did the analysts say? Eala will fight hard, but the difference in power is too great. Rybakina will play the role of the destroyer. I predict 6-2, 6-3 for the Ice Queen. Eala needs a miracle, and miracles do not happen often at this level. Even the Filipino fans, the most enthusiastic supporters of Eala, only hoped for one thing: fight your hardest. Learn from this match. Do not be blown away too quickly. No one, not one person, dared to hope for a victory. And that is exactly why what happened next was so shocking. Because Alexandra Eala did not just fight. She did not just learn. She defeated the giant in a way that no one could have imagined. And now, let us go into the details of each set to understand how this impossibility happened. Set 1. When the blueprint begins to crumble. The match began exactly according to the script. Rybakina held her serve in the very first game without losing a point. Boom, 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 ace. The sound of the tennis ball hitting the back screen echoed like gunfire through the stands. It looked as if it was going to be a very long afternoon for the underdog. But then Eala stepped up to the service line. And that was when we saw the first glitch in the matrix. Instead of trying to match Rybakina's terrifying speed, Eala completely slowed the rhythm down. She used the slice. She used the left-handed slider, serve out wide. She refused to give Rybakina any rhythm. And do you know what happened? Rybakina, the tall giant, was forced to bend low, run forward, and dig balls out from uncomfortable positions at ankle height. Eala held firm, and the shock began to brew. In the sixth game, with the score at 3-3, Rybakina, who had been comfortable in her service games, suddenly faced 0-30. We saw two errors that looked uncharacteristic for her. But let me be clear, these were not unforced errors. These were forced errors. Eala did something bold. She stepped inside the baseline to attack Rybakina's second serve. By stealing the reaction time of the giant, she fired a backhand down the line that left Rybakina completely frozen in place. A silence fell over the stands. The Russian commentary teams likely stopped writing, pens hovering over notebooks in disbelief. Rybakina saved the breakpoints with decisive aces. That is the behavior of a champion. But the damage was done. The seed of doubt had been planted very firmly. Eala was no longer just trying to survive the rallies. She was actively hunting. And this led to a first-set tiebreak that brought the explosive drama the headlines are talking about. This was not just an exchange of hits from the baseline. It evolved into a brutal war where physical endurance met mental resilience. Rybakina would fire a 100 miles per hour forehand deep into the corner, and Eala, running like a woman possessed, would somehow drop a high and deep defensive lob back to the baseline to stay alive. By constantly resetting the points, Eala frustrated her opponent and won the first set 7-6. The atmosphere in the stadium was a strange cocktail of total confusion and electric excitement. The reality was becoming clear. A wild card entry had just snatched a set from the world number 3 in a tiebreak where she might have been outpowered. But she certainly was not outsmarted. Set 2. The Empire strikes back. Rybakina returns with fury. We must acknowledge the immense resilience of the world number 3. The story of a shocked Russia paused as order seemed to be restored. Rybakina stepped onto the court for set 2 looking completely furious. She adjusted her serve speed to the maximum level. She stopped engaging in long, exhausting rallies and started pulling the trigger immediately on the second shot. And do you know what? It worked. Brutally. Rybakina dominated this set, winning 6-2. For a moment, it seemed as if the dream had hit a brick wall, and you could actually see the physical energy draining from Eala's body. Let me make this clear. Trying to chase down Rybakina's heavy shots is equivalent to sprinting for 45 minutes without a break. Even the commentary team seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, ready to call it a day, assuming that order had been restored. The narrative was clear. The high-seeded player had finally found a rhythm. The experts began to change their predictions. Okay, Eala fought well in set 1. But now reality is setting in. Rybakina will close the match 6-2, 6-3. And to be honest, who could blame them? Eala looked exhausted. Her shots began to drop short. Rybakina was hitting with total confidence. Everything looked like a pre-written ending. But exactly when everyone was settling for a predictable conclusion, the match ignited with a volatile new spark. Eala took a tactical bathroom break and returned not just with a clean outfit, but clearly with a completely new set of legs. What unfolded in the deciding set went beyond standard tennis. It transformed into a heavyweight boxing match. The first 4 games were technically holds of serve, but they felt like brutal rounds, swinging back and forth through countless deuces. And then we saw it. Rybakina's first serve percentage began to drop. Was this physical exhaustion? Or simply the mental weight of a stubborn wildcard who refused to fade into the background? The pivotal moment came in the 9th game, with Rybakina serving at 30-30. Eala predicted exactly the direction of a 115 miles per hour thunderbolt, blocked deep, and triggered a lung-bursting 24-shot rally. The gasps from the crowd in the stadium could be heard with every shot, sensing the importance of the moment. Desperate to end it, Rybakina pulled the trigger on a down-the-line winner, but missed the mark by only a few millimeters. That error gifted Eala a break point, and the stadium completely exploded with noise. The deciding set, the battle where legends are written. Welcome to the deciding set, a brutal war of attrition. This is the furnace where tennis myths are written, and true players separate themselves from the crowd. Rybakina's supporters could be seen burying their faces in their hands. But Eala, with total audacity, secured the break with a drop shot so delicate it seemed to make time stop. It was a stroke of pure daring against a world-class opponent like Rybakina. And it worked. Now Eala stepped up to the service line at 5-4, serving for the match. The weight on Eala's shoulders must have been suffocatingly heavy. This was exactly the moment where the entire Russian camp predicted a collapse, the inevitable choke from the underdog. Because look at history. It is very common for lower-ranked players to suffer from vertigo when standing on the edge of a massive upset. True to the script, Rybakina fought back, saving 2 championship points. She attacked Eala's second serve ruthlessly, forcing the game to deuce. Then the momentum shifted to an advantage break point for Rybakina. The mood in the air suggested that if Rybakina broke back now, the match was hers. The psychology would tilt completely toward the Ice Queen. Instead, Eala summoned the shot of the entire tournament. A sprinting forehand, passing shot down the line, hit from far outside the doubles alley. The ball curved back just enough to kiss the paint. The effort was so spectacular that even Rybakina had to applaud. When Rybakina's final ball drifted long, the reaction was instantaneous and electric. Eala collapsed onto the court in ecstasy. Meanwhile, Rybakina stood frozen at the net, her face wearing a mask of true disbelief. And that is when you saw it, the exact moment when the shock ran through the entire tennis community. The cameras panned to the VIP stands where the Russian fans sat. Pale faces, heads shaking in disbelief. One woman caught on camera was holding her phone, mouth agape, unable to believe the score she was looking at. This was not an ordinary upset. This was a violation of the natural order. Because Rybakina is not supposed to lose to people like Eala in the early rounds. That is an unwritten rule of the tour. But today, that rule was shattered, and the entire tennis world is screaming. How could this possibly happen? Tactical analysis. The formula for destroying a giant. Now we need to peel back the layers of this clash to understand the mechanics of the upset. Why did Rybakina struggle? Why is the Russian tennis community so confused? It all comes down to rhythm. Rybakina thrives on pace. She loves when the ball comes to her fast because she can redirect that energy. It is basic physics. The harder the ball is hit toward you, the faster the rebound speed if you time it correctly. Eala completely destroyed this dynamic by refusing to give Rybakina that pace. Eala played with what tennis insiders respectfully called junk. She constantly changed the height and spin, giving Rybakina a different look on every single ball. Let me break it down. Eala would send heavy topspin loops flying high over Rybakina's shoulders, forcing the tall Kazakh to hit down on the ball, which significantly increased the risk of finding the net. Then, as soon as Rybakina adjusted to the high ball, Eala would flatten out the next shot and make it skid low across the surface. This constant disruption of the strike zone is what triggered a cascade of explosive unforced errors from Rybakina's racket. You could actually see the frustration building. Rybakina constantly looked at her player box, gestured at the court surface, and stared at her strings. But the problem was not the equipment. It was the geometry Eala was drawing on the court. The cross-court exchange was pivotal. Eala's left-handed forehand cross-court fed directly into Rybakina's backhand wing. Under normal circumstances, Rybakina's backhand is a rock. But Eala did not feed her flat balls. She hit with extreme angles and a wicked dip. Rybakina found herself pulled very far off the court, which opened up the entire down-the-line corridor for Eala's winners. Look at the stats. Rybakina, 45 unforced errors. Eala, only 18 unforced errors. Eala absolutely refused to hand over free points. Her break-point conversion rate was 4 out of 5, clinically efficient. She seized her opportunities as soon as they appeared. Look at the net points. Eala won 80% of the rallies when she moved forward. She was not just playing defense. She finished points with authority. This was not luck. This was the perfect execution of a detailed game plan. Eala did her homework. She studied Rybakina. She knew exactly how to break the rhythm, and she executed it with a maturity far beyond her years. The aftermath. What this means for the future. The dust is still settling on the hard courts of Abu Dhabi. But the implications of this match will ripple throughout the rest of the 2026 season. For Elena Rybakina, this triggers a moment of deep introspection. The headlines shouting that all of Russia is shocked are not just clickbait. They reflect a genuine concern simmering among her core supporters. The question everyone is asking, is this simply a blip, a bad day at the office? Or has Alexandra Eala exposed a tactical blueprint for how to destroy Rybakina's game for good? Let me make this clear. Every coach and potential opponent on the tour is re-watching the tape of this match frame by frame. What they will find is a masterclass in how Eala used incredible depth, heavy spin, and unpredictable variety to completely neutralize raw power. They will witness proof that the so-called Ice Queen can indeed be melted if you bring enough intensity and unyielding persistence to the court. There is no doubt Rybakina will recover. Champions of her caliber always find a way to reset. But the fearsome aura of invincibility has certainly received a significant dent after today's performance. Now, turn our attention to Alexandra Eala. This victory serves as a massive launchpad for her career. We have seen countless young prodigies score one major upset only to fade into obscurity. But the specific way she secured this victory, relying on tactical maturity rather than lucky bounces, suggests this success is built to last. This was not a case of closing her eyes and hoping for the best on every swing. She methodically dismantled a top-tier superstar, taking her game apart piece by piece until there was nothing left. The Philippines has officially found its newest sporting icon, and the WTA Tour has gained a dangerous, unseeded threat lurking in every draw. Social media is currently exploding. Eala has just announced herself to the world. This is why I love tennis. Anything can happen. Rybakina needs to fire her coaching team immediately. This is unacceptable. But let me ask you this. Was this just Rybakina having a rare off day? Or are we witnessing the legitimate emergence of Alexandra Eala as a future top 10 contender? I want to hear your thoughts, and I will tell you why in our final conclusion. A tennis moment that will never be forgotten. This confrontation at the Abu Dhabi Open will go down in history as the moment the entire narrative changed. It was a day where sheer force of will triumphed over the sheer force of physics. The atmosphere was explosive. The energy was palpable, and the result is undeniable. This was a shocking but absolutely magnificent result to witness firsthand. But here is the bigger question we need to address. What does this mean for the future of women's tennis? My view? This was not a fluke. Alexandra Eala has outlined a blueprint, and that blueprint can be replicated by other players who study this game. The tactical takeaways are clear. Refuse to give Rybakina rhythm. Vary heights and spins aggressively. Attack second serves early. Use geometry to pull her wide. Defend with patience. Attack with precision. Does this mean Rybakina is finished at the top tier? Absolutely not. But it does mean she is no longer invincible. And in women's tennis, perception is everything. For Eala, here is the question. Can she maintain this intensity? Can she handle the pressure of now being a marked woman? Every opponent will be scouting her. Every coach will be preparing for her lefty spin. But if she can build on this foundation, we are looking at a future WTA star. Now, I need to hear from you. Go to the comment section right now and tell me, what do you think about this seismic upset? Was this simply Rybakina having a rare off day? Or are we witnessing the legitimate emergence of Alexandra Eala as a future top 10 contender in 2026? Is the shock being felt in Russia justified? Or is this just another example of the extremely unpredictable WTA Tour? If you are a loyal fan of Rybakina, tell me exactly what you think went wrong out there. And if you are cheering for Team Eala, let me know how deep you think she can go in this bracket. Does she have the capability of winning the entire title now that she has successfully taken down the giant of the tournament? And listen, if you enjoyed this deep dive coverage, if you appreciate receiving a forensic breakdown of tactics instead of just glancing at the final scoreline, then do me a huge favor. Subscribe to the Pro Tennis 360 channel right now. We will bring you the most detailed analysis, angles that you will not find anywhere else, and real-time coverage from every major tournament. Smash that subscribe button as hard as Rybakina smashes a forehand winner. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a single update. We will be covering the Abu Dhabi Open all week. And if the action today is any indication, we are in for a completely wild ride. Thank you very much for watching. This was a historic day for sport. And you are here with Pro Tennis 360 to witness every second. I will see you at the next match. Game, set, match.